Hello, friends. You're welcome to the Gallery of Answers. And today we'll be talking about the subject of legacy. Now, everyone wants to be remembered for something good. Everyone wants to be remembered for an achievement, something major that they did with their lives. That to show their lives was not wasted, to show that the effort, the investment of people, of relationships that they built was not a waste. Everyone wants to make an impact. Even some people want to change the world. Some people want to focus on their immediate environment. Some people want to do eternal stuff, things that have eternal value. And what I've discovered is everyone wants to have a footprint on the sands of time before we die. And it got me thinking, what exactly do we regard as an impact on our world? What exactly do we regard as a worthwhile footprint? I mean, a lot of people have broken records. People have done amazing things. People have helped humanity, invented stuff, built stuff, made up laws and built communities. A lot of people broke records and did amazing stuff. Humans have been limitless in their impact over time. Now, as believers, what exactly do we regard as a worthwhile footprint on the sands of time? I believe strongly in the fulfillment of purpose, right? That when we come to this world, when we are living it, we die empty, as someone would say, and we'll live a life worthwhile of the gifts and the privileges that God has given us. We'll live a life worthwhile of the volume of books that has been written about us. We'll live a life that God is proud of, a life that God appointed us to live. And how exactly do we do that? How exactly do we leave a worthwhile footprint on the sands of time? Now, do we remember the phrase that Paul said? He said that if our hope is only in this world, we are of all men most miserable. So that gives me an idea that the worthwhile footprints that believers ought to have in the sands of time should not be according to the judgment and according to the prerequisites or according to the understanding of mortals. Now, what do I mean by that? You see, when you do something amazing, people recognize you for it, maybe with some fame, maybe with a lot of cash, maybe with privileges, special access, and all those things, recognition and stuff. So people recognize you with all these things, people appreciate you with all these things. But these things they don't always possess eternal value, you see. They don't always possess eternal value. There are a lot of amazing people that did great stuffs in history and they were acknowledged for it. In fact, we still read about them today. We study them, we talk about them, their efforts, their commitment, their investment in humanity. But these things don't hold eternal water, they don't have eternal value. Now, that led me to a very particular scripture, and I would like to share it with you. It's okay. Let's look at the book of John. In the book of John, chapter 15, let me read from verse 1. Okay. It says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth, and that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abides in the vine, no more can ye, except ye abide in me. Now, this is where I'm going, verse 5. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me, ye can do nothing. Now, you see, he compared this relationship with us as a relationship between the vine and its branches. Now, the vine supplies the nutrient, the branches bring forth the fruit, the whole works. Looking at this specific word, it says, for without me, ye can do nothing. Now, does it mean that as branches, we can practically do nothing without being attached to the vine? I mean, literally, if you look at the branches of a vine and the vine, you see that it is a symbiotic relationship. Now, if we want to make it real to us, what exactly did Jesus refer to as nothing? Because as humans, we are born, we grow up. You don't have to be a believer for that. You don't have to be engrafted into the vine for that. I mean, we are intelligent enough to go to school, to study, to graduate and come out fine, make a lot of money, work. We are intelligent enough to build stuff, to invent stuff, to build communities and all these things. So what exactly was Jesus referring to when he said, you can do nothing without me? A lot of people have done a lot of things without him. When Jesus said, for without me you can do nothing, what he meant was that without him, we can do nothing of value, of eternal value. Without him, we can do nothing of eternal value. You see, we can do a lot of things on this earth, in this mortal realm. We can do a lot of things that people will acknowledge, people will appreciate, people will raise us high and give us some kudos. We can do a lot of amazing things on this realm. But you see, when you want eternal value, when you want eternal impact, when you want an impact that transcends this mortal realm into the immortal, you cannot achieve any of those things without Jesus. That is exactly what he's telling us as believers. You see, if we want to chase the recognition of the world, kudos. But if we want something of eternal value, we need him. So when I sit back and I'm thinking about what a virtual footprint will be on the sands of time, I think we need the help of Jesus in achieving that. Now, this is what I mean. You see, we want a virtual life that has eternal value, not just recognition in this realm, but we want to do something that God will regard as, not nothing. Said, for without me, you can do nothing. So that means for with me, you can do something, right? Okay. So with him, we can do something. So we want to live a life that does a lot of some things that God acknowledges. I think there should be a life of eternal value that as believers, we should all chase. So how exactly do we achieve all this? We do it by sticking with him. The symbiotic relationship. You see, as believers, we want eternal value. We want to do something that God will regard as something, right? So we need to pitch into this symbiotic relationship that Jesus is pushing out to us. Is actually inviting us to have this relationship with him so that we can do something that is worth eternal value. Now, how do we quantify something that serves an eternal purpose, something that has an eternal value? That brings me to another story. You see, when Jesus Christ came, he was born of the Virgin Mary, he lived, he died, and then he rose again, and then he went up to heaven. If we look at the timelines of all these things, and the prophecies that came before, the genealogy of Jesus Christ, we see all these things, we will see that these are carefully crafted timelines. They couldn't have happened by coincidence. No, they were carefully crafted by God. And he was very intentional about all these things. Now, that tells me something else. You see, if God cares about us and he views us as his children, just as he views Jesus, I believe strongly that he has a thought out plan for each and every one of us. He has a plan for us. The whole volume of books kind of deal. I have come in the volume of books that is written concerning me to do thy will. That whole setup. So if he has this stuff crafted out for Jesus, including the second coming well thought out and well planned, I'm sure he has this for every one of us. So how exactly do we live out a life of eternal value and a worthwhile footprint in the sands of time? We just have to follow his already scripted out life. Now that sounds easier said than done. But you see, what I've figured out is that following God's plan is not as difficult as we might want to perceive it. Because you see, he said, the Bible said, find out what pleases the Lord and do it. It's usually as simple as that. But you see, if we want to go a little bit deeper into it, we'll see exactly what Jesus said. He said what he sees the Father doing, that's exactly what he does. So all we need to do is to look up to him to know what he's doing and replicate it. Now that's another perspective. Here is another perspective. We pray and ask him to lead us and guide us to order our steps, alright? Our going out, our coming in, we commit everything to him and we ask him to lead and guide us. We ask him to order our steps, and when he instructs us, we follow those instructions. And eventually when we look at our lives in hindsight, we'll see lots of stuff that God has taken us through, a lot of stuff that God has guided us through. we'll see a lot of amazing things that God has used us to achieve. Now, here is a very important point that I want everyone to pay attention to. A worthwhile life of eternal value does not mean that you are going to be popular here. Yeah. You might not be popular here. I might not be popular here. I might not have that worldwide recognition as a lot of people do on earth. But it also means living that life means that for me and for you, if you choose to live that life, it means that when God is drawing out his plan of eternity, we will find our own place there. Because we will find our peace perfectly fit in that place that he has designed for us to be in. I think that is a worthwhile life. That's a life well lived, of eternal relevance, eternal value, and eternal impact. A life that God will regard to that has done something, not a life that has done nothing worthwhile. You know what I mean? So now, what exactly am I saying? Without Jesus, we can't actually do anything of eternal value, of eternal purpose, following God's to-do list. We can't do it. But with him, we can achieve it. And we know exactly how we are going to achieve it. The next time you are considering making a major decision about your life, stop paying attention to what the world will regard to as a worthwhile footprint on the sands of time, worthwhile impact on this earth. Start paying more attention to what God will regard to as something worthwhile. Pay more attention to that than to the recognition of the world. And I pray that as you do exactly that, the good Lord will make doing his will, following his plan, and living his purpose easy for each and every one of us. Thank you, and have a very good day.